Hi, welcome to Trickle Down Geekonomics. And as you can see, we're going to get to look at Agents of Mayhem, Pride of Babylon by Apollo and Academy Games. And it's based on the video game of the same name. I have played the video game and it is a lot of fun. It's been out since I think 2017. The video game has. I did not kickstart the board game, but I saw somebody, I think it was maybe Unfiltered Games, I can't remember, did a little overview of the game a while back, and it looked really interesting, and was able to find it at a reasonable price online with the Kickstarter, some of the Kickstarter bonuses, extra characters, and things like that. So anyways, we'll do a quick overview of the game and kind of how it gets going, and then we'll probably break it there and then do a couple videos doing the actual game play. And I think you'll enjoy it. I think it's a really neat, creative game. Looks great on the table, really good components, and you'll see that as we play. So let's take a look. Okay, so the board's set up, and we're going to go into the setup a little bit here in a second, but I wanted to talk about one of the elite character boards and explain all the different abilities and things that they have on them. So we're going to start with Glory, and as you can see at the top, where all the cubes are, we have her shields, and she has 2 shield cubes in that well. We have armor, she doesn't have any. And then we have our action wells there. So we have speed, focus, and tech. And then we have our Mayhem well there, which is empty. We'll get those later on, and I'll talk about those. And then health, which would be 8. And then also I have slotted in one of her skill tokens, but that would not be in there. She does not have any yet. I just wanted to show it. So throughout the game, you can get dark matter crystals doing different missions. Those 2 right there. So this would cost 2 dark matter crystals. If we spent those, we would acquire that skill, and we would just slot it into the skill well there, right there. So it doesn't really tell you much about it. There's a picture, so you have a nice little character sheet here. Talks about the character, her background, her abilities, some of her weapon abilities that she has that are innate to her, as well as her drone, Glory. And then, of course, it gives a breakdown of her lethality, durability, special, just kind of give her comparing her to other characters, kind of see where she falls. And then, again, more background on her. If you flip it, though, that's where it lists all the different skills and upgrades. So you've got Legion Tech, Dark Matter, and basic skill upgrades. And she has the one we just put in there, if she had it, was called Stunning Finish, 2 cost, and she would gain a permanent Mayhem status when Fortune downs a stunned enemy. So again, we'll talk more about those kind of things when they come up as far as Mayhem status and all that, but that's what those are. And then if you go down below that, you see all her her basic abilities. She has a dual energy pistol, and then there's the sprint, jump, and dash. Now, if you notice on the top by the weapon, there's a plus symbol here for sprint. There's a little power on symbol, and then there's the check mark. Those are the different types of actions you can do. Sprint would be a main action. If you see that power symbol, that is a main action, meaning you can only do 1 main action per turn. But as a plus, you can do that as an added action to a main action, but it can only be done once. You can't do multiple dual energy pistol attacks. You can only do 1 of those, but you could add it to your main action. So she could sprint, and then she could do her dual energy pistols. She could also jump. You just have to, we'll talk about how to do those, but she could jump. Dash has a check mark. Now that means she can do it whenever she wants, as long as she has the action cubes to spend, but you can do it during your opponent's turn or her turn. There are some rules as to when you can actually do it. It can't be like during the middle of somebody else's action. It has to be before or after that action takes place. But it's a great little defensive tool, and it can be an offensive tool too. But that's what that is. And then below that, we have our gadget slots there. There's 3 of those that you can equip before the game, and we start with each one of our elites has 1. So we have Cavalier boots for her. And again, when we get into the game, we'll talk about what that does. But it's really nice. They slot in, and there's a little white dash there. If you push that, the card lifts up, and then that makes it easy to pull out. And they slide right in. If you look, there's a little, it's depressed, and there's a little slot there. So here, let me push that, I'll pull it out, and then it just slides right out of there. So you can just put it right back in when you get these new gadgets. And there you go. So that's the basic layout of the characters, the elite cards. She has an ally, Glory, which is the drone, and it uses her cubes, so she has to use her action cubes and things to activate it. But it's part of her turn, and she can utilize the drone. It's great for stunning enemies, and then she gets all sorts of benefits from attacking stunned enemies. So that would be her. And then Hardtack is our other elite agent of Mayhem, and as you can see, he's got a lot of speed action cubes, and he also has shield or armor. So he has 2 armor, and armor and shields are great. Shields can regenerate, armor can't, but it definitely absorbs a lot of the damage before you start taking wounds. So that can be very, very helpful. He's got a shotgun, and again, sprint, jump, and dash. And then he has a teleharpoon, which is his gadget that he has equipped. And let's take a look at his weapon, and so whenever you do any of these actions, and again, for him, his attack is a main action, so he can only do that once, or his one main action. But if you look right here, there's a little hand, and above it are the 2 green speed cubes. So to be able to do that, you have to spend 2 of these cubes. So if we wanted to do that, we'd take these 2 cubes, take them off. Now we've activated that. Next to it, to the little crosshairs there, is the range of the weapon. There's 3 ranges, close, medium, and long. And for example, for him, close range is 1 space. Medium would be 2 or 3. And then long would be 4, 5, 6, or 7. And then next to that is the number of dice you roll of the appropriate color. So you'd roll 3 dice. If he was close range, 1 space away, you'd roll 3 red dice. Medium, you'd roll 3 yellow. And then at long range, 3 white. And the dice are here. So for the red, got a nice 12-sided. Yellow is 8. And then 6-sided for the white. So that's how that works. So again, sprint is also a main action. He would have to spend 1 speed cube, and he could move 9 spaces inside there. Jump, he'd have to spend a green cube. Now that's an add, so he could add that to a sprint or to his attack. And because on his attack also, if you look down here, he can move 3 when he makes an attack. And then that allows him to jump up 2 levels and jump across objects or a gap between 2 buildings, that kind of thing, 3 spaces. It doesn't add 3 to his movement. It's just during his movement, he can jump over 3 objects or spaces, things like that. And then dash, which a lot of them have the similar thing. It's allows them to move 1 square. And again, you can do that whenever they want. So some of the weapons have special abilities to them, things like that. For example, this one, if he gets one of there's a symbol on here, and sometimes it'll actually be part of another symbol. If you get that, for him, anytime he gets that symbol, he gets a free pushback. That's the pushback symbol. So if you rolled the dice and got 3 hits, and then it had the little gear burst around it, he would get additional pushback. And then he also has the ability, he gets to make a second attack against a target within 2 spaces of the first. So some weapons have special abilities. Fortune also has some special abilities there with her weapon. And then our last agent of mayhem is Hollywood. And again, he's got the various wells filled with different actions. They're all a little different. He's got an assault rifle. His special ability is run and gun stock in his one of his gadgets. Just allows him, when he uses his weapon, he gets to move a little bit more. And then his various sprint, jump, and dash. So that's the basic board of a character. Now, the one thing that's a little different now, our enemy here, Dr. Bamelon, well, depending on which side you're playing, he's the leader of the Legion. He's the Minister of Pride. And he's got a dark matter crystal scepter, and he's got a little dark matter homing missile that goes with it. And again, he has the same sprint and jump. The one thing he has different is he has block. So instead of dashing, he can use the block when people attack him for a tech and a focus cube, and that allows him to block one of the damage that comes into him. But the one big difference with the Legion is they have squads. So they have an Alpha and a Bravo squad, and these can have up to 3 different types of units in them. Alpha squad here, we have the Blitz Trooper and the Swarm Troopers, and their abilities and everything are on their card, and also their armor and shields are on their card instead of in the wells. So all these action cubes apply to all the troopers in that squad. So you can activate them, both of them, as long as you have, the action cubes to spend on them. And again, they have their abilities kind of built in there. Dual machine guns, sprint, dash, those are add actions. And then the main action for her is the gun kata. It allows them to attack multiple enemies in line of sight. And then the Swarm Trooper, again, she's got her main action would be her charge, but then she can do her knife attack, and she can add on a lunge if she needs a little more range and things like that as an add-on action. And then the other difference is down at the bottom of the card, the symbols down there, the one on the left, that is the reinforcement cost. So during the game, if you look on the board, there's a reinforcement well there. It goes down the side. We'll see this when it comes up, but during refresh actions, you may get the ability to add reinforcement action cubes to that slot. And you put them in that slot, and then you would be able to, if you get a reinforcement action, which would come up, we'll see that, you can spend those cubes to bring in whatever you can spend. If you have a green and 2 yellow, you could bring in a Blitz Trooper onto the board, and then there's rules on where they can go and stuff, but that'll allow you to bring in a reinforced unit back into the game. And then our Bravo squad has the Hell Troopers. And again, they have a dark matter rifle. There's a couple things that are kind of unique. He's got this symbol here, and that means if there's 3 Hell Troopers out there and we do the dark matter rifle, 3 of them can attack at the same time. So it's pretty neat little action there. And then the Swarm Trooper has a similar thing with their charge. When you spend 1 green speed cube, you actually get to move 2 of the Swarm Troopers. So they can be you can really bring them in and surround enemies pretty quick. Take advantage of flanking and things like that. So they're pretty nasty. So that would be the Legions. And the other thing on the board we have the Mayhem cards, which are there. And that's the Legion Mayhem cards. And then we have our refresh cards, which are a deck of 12. And not only do those, have an effect in the game for refreshing and things like that, they also are kind of a turn counter. So when you get done with all your refresh cards, that's going to start a new round. So each round's going to basically take each team's going to get 12 turns, and then you're going to start a new round. In the game we're playing today, we're just going to play one round. So basically 12 turns to achieve our objectives for the mission. So we'll take a look at the mission right now. So each team has their own mission book. So the Agents of Mayhem have their own mission book, and then the Legion has their mission book. And each one, they both have the same title there, Party Crashers, but their setup and their goals and objectives and things like that are all a little different. But the map, so for example, the map setup, as you can see, they each have it, it's just flip-flopped based on which side you come into the board on and things like that. So the map setup's going to be the same, except a few things will be different as far as where they start and things like that. For example, in the Agents of Mayhem, you can see our agents, they show where they're located on the map, and then there's different objectives for this one compared to the Legion, which you don't see any of their units on the map to start with, and then they have a gadget objective right there that's not on the Mayhem map. So the way these are listed out, and they're very similar for both, you have your basic boards as far as what characters you're going to play and stuff. A lot of times they'll give you, for example, here you have Dr. Babylon, Alpha Squad, and Bravo Squad, and what units make up those different squads. The Swarm Trooper, Blitz Trooper, and the Hell Troopers. There's also advanced setup, so you can actually change out Dr. Babylon with another elite, and then your different units that would go into the squad. And real quick, we'll run back over. If at the bottom of the card, on the units there, this right here with the card, that's the cost of what it would be to build your army with. So you're going to start out with a certain number of resources to build your units and your squads. And so, for example, to bring in a Blitz Trooper, it costs 1 tech cube, 1 speed cube for the Swarm Troopers, and then the Hell Troopers are 1 tech as well. And actually the Blitz Troopers are a speed and tech. So that's kind of how expensive they are to bring them in. And if we look down here, for example, they give you, if you do the advance, you get 7 speed, 7 tech, and or focus. I keep saying tech. Yellow is focus, and then 0 tech. So you could build your units based on that. But we're going to stick with the basic setup. And then shows you the number of units, 5 Hell Troopers, 4 Swarm Troopers, and 2 Blitz Troopers. And they may move onto the map from the labeled map edge, which is right there. So anywhere along that edge, including on the elevated surface if it's right there on the edge, they can start right there. Next we have, there's a special event marker that goes to one of their, on a Hell Trooper. We'll talk about that in a second. Refresh cards, those are those cards we looked at over there. There's 12 of them. Some games you might have less of refresh cards to start with. Your Mayhem card, you get to draw one of the Mayhem cards to start the game. It's 1 round. The victory points, Legion already has 1 victory point, and then the initiative is Legion gets to go first. And then there's special rules. For this particular one, we have a retiring Steve, the Hell Trooper. And yeah, the missions usually start with a little comic at the top, just to give you a little intro to the mission. And basically Steve needs to get off the board. So he's going to start on the one side and has to get all the way across to the other side. And so he has some special additions to him that are a little, so for example, he gets to roll an extra die of the appropriate range when he attacks. He gets to ignore the first hit of each attack, and he moves 6 movement points instead of the 9 for his reposition action. Also, when you bring when you activate a Legion unit board with units that are not on the map, when you activate, you get one of those units gets to move 3 movement points as a little add-on movement for no extra cost. So we'll keep that in mind when we play. And then again, you have your map for the setup, and then the wind conditions. And for the Legion, they're basically we'll show the little objective markers, but they need to have control of those. If for each one they control, they get 3 victory points at the end. And then if Steve the Helltrooper gets off the map, they get 4 victory points immediately. So that's basically their setup. The Party Crasher mission for the Agents of Mayhem, similar thing. It just shows the 3 elite units, Fortune, Hardtack, and Hollywood, and then their gadget they get to start with. And then you can also do advanced where you build your own elites. You can use different ones. I do have 2 other packs with 3 elites in them, so I have 9 elites I could choose from. And then you place them on the map where it shows, which is right there, and we have them out there. And again, it says here, Legion setup, I don't do anything while they're setting up. 1 to 12 refresh cards, a Mayhem card. It ends, again, 1 round, and then the VP, 1 Legion, and Initiative is a Legion. For us, though, we are trying to keep control of the objective markers. As long as we keep control and everything, and then that Legion headquarters will blow up. They're trying, obviously, to stop it from happening. So they get 5 victory points, agents do, if they have both of the objective markers in their control, and 1 victory point immediately for each Legion unit they down. And the 2 objective markers, got 1 there, and then they already have control of that one. Right now they are on the symbol for the Agents of Mayhem, so right now they are at least under the control of Agents of Mayhem as far as the side they're on. There's also a dark crystal right there, so if they can maintain control of that at the end of the game, they'll get a dark crystal. So that's basically it. Now, the one other thing I didn't show is, and it applies to both of the mission books, is the map setup. And it lists all the map tiles for each level, which is kind of neat. So what map tile and what it is, and for level 1, level 2, if there's any objective markers or anything that go on level 2. Here, level 3, we see the characters. They're going to be on level 3 of that tile. And then level 4, there's 1 level 4 building. So let's take a look at that. So here is the board. And you can see we've got 6 buildings out here of different levels. And one of them's already been, one of the floors has been destroyed. And in one of the training missions that you do before. So there is one of the objective markers that we need to have control of. There's the dark crystal. There is a gadget that's got the Legion symbol up. And then we have the other objective marker for the little terminal. So we're in control of that. And basically we have to get one of our units, or agents have to get one of their units over here, gain control of both of those. They can try to get the crystal and the other things, but and then the Agents of Mayhem are kind of doing the same thing, as well as trying to get Steve, one of these guys, off the map. And real quick, we'll take a look at one of the buildings real quick, just how simply they go together. It's pretty neat. It's a nice little construction system to build these, and it's just great having these multiple levels and destructible buildings. It's really a great idea. Okay, let's look at the buildings here. So the buildings go together really easy. So the top floors just pop right off, and you see these 4 rods here, which are threaded, make up the structure of the building. And for the base floor, you have to use these little screws here, and here I'll show you. So here's the screws, and just little threaded screws, and they have a little kind of like an Allen wrench opening on the back, and you get a little tool with it, and it just pops right in there to help you tighten it up. And you don't have to tighten it that hard. You definitely don't want to over tighten it. So you're basically going to put those in the base here. So you're going to have 4 of those for every bottom floor, and just tighten those in. And then when you get your 4 bases in there, you put your top on it and you're ready to go. And then of course if you have to go above that, you just take another rod, you thread it in, and again you just don't want to over tighten it, and then you just keep building up like for this level 4. Cool thing is too, the floors, all your top floors and everything have a destructed side. So you can, again, these buildings are destructible, and if you take them out, you flip it over, drop it down a level, and then that's the floor, and it changes up the obstructions and things like that. So, and we'll see how, we should be able to see how that's done using explosives and how those things work. So again, they pop right on there really easy, and get a, oops, that's not the way it goes, but we'll get it back in there. But yeah, so this is just a really nice, quick, easy, destructible terrain, and really adds another level to the game. So one thing we need to do before we actually start is we need to draw our Mayhem cards for each team. So we'll go ahead and draw one for the Agents of Mayhem, and we have Stunt Double. Now this is Hollywood's, one of his Mayhem cards, so it can only be activated by Hollywood. It's an additional action, Stunt Double, and also when he activates this, he discards it, and then he'll get be able to fill in one of his action wells with a cube. And for this one is basically for one Mayhem cube, he can mark the space Hollywood starts his turn in. After this turn, place an explosion marker in his space and return him to the space he started the turn in. So that's pretty cool. He'll be able to maybe wreak some havoc on one of the buildings. So that is theirs, and I'm going to put it over here by Hollywood just so we remember it's his. And then now we draw one for the Legion. See what we get here. And for this one, it's one of the Swarm Troopers. And same kind of thing, discard it, you can get a cube for it. And then if a Swarm Trooper hits with his main attack, place 3 move down statuses on the target. So you can really slow down somebody when they swarm on them. So that's, and again, it's an additional action. So we'll put that, actually I'm just going to put it right here by her, even though it's not a unit, just to remember, by the Swarm Troopers. Okay, so we have their Mayhem cards, and we're ready to go with that. And again, we can get more, you can get more Mayhem cards by spending Mayhem cubes. So 3 cubes will get you a new card. But in the beginning, I want to get those cubes out to maybe activate one of their abilities. So we will start with the Legion, and I think we're going to go ahead and activate some of the Hell Troopers just to get some units out on the board with a decent amount of range. So we're going to put one of our Mayhem status tokens on there. And again, when we get 2 of those, we trade both of those in, and we get a Mayhem cube. Even if the Mayhem well that was completely full, you still have to discard the tokens, and you just don't get the cube. So let's go ahead and do that. So we will spend a speed and from the cube, and that'll allow them to do reposition, which they can move 9 spaces. They can, within those 9 spaces, they can jump 3, and they can jump 2 levels up. They also, the first unit to come on the board of that type gets that +3 movement based on the scenario. So the best thing to do would probably be to get elevation, and since the side of the board they spawn into is with the tallest building, I think we need to get somebody up there. So we will take one of our Hell Troopers and move him, so that'd be 1, and then he can leap up to 3 as part of the movement. So we're going to go ahead and do that and jump him up to the 2nd level. So he can jump over this, that'd be 4, because there's a barrier there. But we can do that as part of the leap, so we don't have to spend the movement. So that'd be 1, 2, then he jumps up 2 levels, 3, 4, 5, and actually you could have done diagonal there. So it'd be 4, 5, 6, 7. So he is on top of the building there, hanging out by the little park. And we'll bring another one out, and I think we'll get one. Probably should just have one over here just to take control of that other control board. So we'll get one over there. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we'll have him up here. And we will give him, have control of this because he is next to it and there's no enemy nearby. And that would have been another speed cube. And then we're going to spend our last speed cube and we're going to get a third one in. Could actually put another one up there too. We'll just get another one up and put him right next to this guy. So now we've got two really high elevated Hell Troopers. One's got control of the other terminal, and they're done with that. Now they can attack because the reposition is a, you can see here, it's just that's an add action. And the main action would be their attack. And again, they have this ability that allows them, when you spend one focus cube, you can activate or shoot with 3 of your Hell Troopers. And we've got 3 out there. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll see what range we're in there. So let's count the range here. It looks like it's about 4 or 5, but we will see. So we'll start with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's 4 away, and then he's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 and 5, so they're both going to be within that short range, which is good because that means they get to roll the red die. They're elevated, so they have the red die. They're elevated, so they're going to get a bump up, a bonus die from up to 6 to an 8, so they've got that. That's what they're starting with. The downside or disadvantage is right now, the first one there, if you go from his closest corner to the closest corner of Hollywood, it crosses that red barrier right in there. So it's going to hit that red barrier, and same thing with the other one actually. So if it crosses that red dot, that barrier dot, that's still going to give him cover. So that's going to bump down to, so this is going to go away. So he's still going to be able to roll the red die. So it's still a really good attack for him. So let's see what we get here. So we got a hit. Now again, this is activates, if you aimed, that'll give you a little bonus, and if there's any other specials that you have that activate because of that little square symbol around the hit. But it's just a straight on hit. So it's going to take one of Hollywood's shields, which he has 2 of. And then the next one's going to go, same thing, again, still within that short range. And he got a hit. So both of Hollywood's shields have been taken out. So that's not good for Hollywood. Again, also, and just a reminder, I did not draw a refresh card on this first activation because the first turn you do not draw. Nobody's gone or done anything. The second turn for the Legion and the Agents of Mayhem, then we'll flip a refresh card. So that also means, I think I said 12 activations or turns before a round changes. It's actually going to be 13 because that first turn you're not flipping a refresh card. So it actually would be 13 turns before a round would end, and then the other subsequent rounds, because you're already in the game, then it would go down to 12. So, all right. So now we're going to activate our Agents of Mayhem, and again, we don't draw a refresh card. We're going to go ahead and start. I think I'm going to start with Fortune and get Glory out there too, her drone, because she's really good with stunning. So we're grabbing our Mayhem status marker and putting it on there. Oops, wrong side. They do have 2 sides showing, Mayhem and Legion. So put that on her. And we'll go ahead and activate her. First thing she's going to do, she's going to spend 2 of her tech cubes, and this allows her to activate Glory. So right here, deploy. It's just all his actions, or hers, or its, are just additional actions. And it all comes through Fortune. She uses her cubes. He doesn't. The drone does not have its own cubes. So costs 2 to deploy, and then you place Glory within 2 spaces of Fortune. So we will do that. And there's a little figure. So we'll get it out there. And since it can be within 2, we'll just get him there so he has a little more movement. And for free, we can move him. He moves 5 spaces, and there's no elevation or anything like that because it's flying. You don't have to worry about. It's always kind of at whatever level when it's making it the attack and things like that. Although you may have to put it on the ground just to show exactly where he's at. So I think I'm going to try to stun those 2 hell troopers there on the top floor, even though they probably won't be able to attack next turn because they spend a lot of their actions. Did notice one thing while I'm standing here is I forgot to remove a focus cube from the hell trooper card when they attack, so we'll have to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and move him, get him close. His range for his stun cannon, he basically has long range. It's 4 away. He always rolls the white die. He doesn't have a close or medium attack, so I don't have to get him that close. So let's just do this. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll have him over this building. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that puts him within 4. So he's basically right here. And we will see if he can stun. And the stun action for him is also free. It's all part of his activation. And let me get rid of one of these focus cubes. But again, when you do these add-on actions, it can only do it 1 time. It's just you can do it in addition to your main action. So hit its attack. It's going to be a white die. He's at the same elevation, within range. They don't have any cover or anything like that. So it's just a straight up 6-sided die. And if he gets a hit, whether either one of the hit symbols doesn't do any damage, but if he gets either one of the hit symbols, and again that shows he rolls 1 die, he will stun the trooper. So we'll see if we can get one of those guys stunned here. And we didn't. That's just the special symbol, and it didn't do anything. So unfortunately that did not work. And again, I think I may have said this is special. This is just for when you're if you're doing the aim, that means the aim is activated, that you got an aim hit. This is when you activate certain specials. For example, hardtack has one where if you get those symbols, you can apply it and get pushback with it. So, okay, so unfortunately we did not get a stunned trooper. Now Glory's going to go. Fortune's going to go. Glory went. And she does really well up close. She has a dash ability, so if she's within a group of people and she dashes, she can stun them, anybody within 1 of her. So it's a pretty cool little ability, and her range isn't great either. It's 3, 6, and 10. So, and she only rolls 2 dice, so she can get a buff up on her attacks and things like that, but she does better up close, but I don't think I can get her up that building. She, again, if I do, she won't be able to, her attack is an add-on to her sprint. So she can sprint and attack. She can sprint 6, though. She does not sprint 9. Let's see where we can get her. So we're going to spend a speed cube, and we will see where we can get her. Hopefully we can get her kind of close over there. And her jump, if we spend a jump, it's only 1 level, but you can jump across 4. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3. See, she's got this barrier here. If you can see that, there's a red barrier. Again, I could just leap over it, and might as well just do it there. So it'll be 1, and then her leap will cover that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's not good. We don't want her out in the open. Actually, she's probably going to be better off going this way and maybe get her inside that building. That way she's got some cover until she can get over there. So we'll do the same thing. That'll leap over that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll get her inside the building for now. I know it's unfortunately not very eventful, but at least it kind of keeps her out of range or being targeted, and it's getting her in the right direction. So she's done. We do need to spend a cube because she did do the leap. So she spent 2 speed cubes. Did not attack or do anything like that, but she is done. So her activation's over, so then we're going to go back over to the Legion. So this time we flip a refresh card. So here's a refresh card, and what it's showing you is now this isn't the refresh phase, this is just drawing the card. During the phase, which comes at the end, after the whatever unit goes for the Legion, all the other units that didn't activate will be able to refresh one of their action cubes, regain a shield. We can put a reinforcement cube in one of the wells or both wells if neither activated, and then they also get a Mayhem status marker. So that's really nice too, because that can bump somebody right into a cube right away. So that's what that is. So that's going to be their refresh when they refresh. Can't really activate Bravo. They don't have any. They could attack actually. They do have the capability of attacking. They just can't move or anything. It may not be a bad idea. Because they do have Hollywood shields gone, so they could both attack Hollywood and they could also try to attack the drone and potentially take that out. But then I'm wasting a turn getting people out. So you can kind of see the dilemma. And then I'm really going to have the Bravo squad's going to kind of be out of it for a while. But then again, they may not have a really good shot at anybody at that point. You know, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and take our Bravo squad's going to go again, which means they're going to get another one of these tokens, which means it's going to bump right into a cube. So they, oops, wrong one. So they do have a Mayhem cube. And the other thing too is for pin it costs 2 Mayhem cubes. Those cubes can come from any of the characters when you activate it. So they could, once they start getting Mayhem cubes, you can pull from whoever has them to activate one of the cards. So let us go ahead with the Hell Troopers. The downside is I'm kind of blowing it on the only thing I'm going to be able to do during the refresh phase is we will get 2 Mayhem status markers, and they will get we'll get a reinforcement cube, but the other 2 aren't going to do anything because we haven't activated those, which is no big deal. But you do kind of, if you keep doing the same one and nobody else is gone, you're kind of wasting some of those refresh abilities, but it is what it is. So they will go ahead and attack, and I think I'm going to move. He's got control of that, and nobody's going to come over. We'll start, but I can't move. Unfortunately, I can't because I have no speed. So we'll see. Maybe that other one can take a shot at the drone. We'll see. We'll start with the far left one over here, Trooper, and we'll see if he can hit. Just want to make sure. I'm not sure. I'm kind of cutting him off here. There we go. All right. So the Troopers are going to attack, and again it's going to be the same distance to Hollywood, all the same bonuses and everything apply, so it's going to be the 1 red and another hit. So now his armor's gone, so now he has no armor, so he's completely vulnerable to take a wound. The other one though, I think even though I could give a wound to Hollywood, it'd be good to get rid of that drone. So let's see what our range is to the drone, and we'll get rid of that thing, or try to at least weaken it. It has 3 armor. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be within, again, short range. No cover or anything like that for the drone. And again, the drone could be up here, whatever. I guess, you know, I didn't think about that. I guess potentially it was at the same elevation they were, or I guess it's always kind of considered to be that. That might be just during the attack. After it attacks, I guess wherever you put it. We'll have to look into that. To be honest, I'm not sure what happens after it attacks. If it stays considered to be at that elevation it attacked at, or it's whatever elevation you put it at the end, you know, at the end of its turn. For now, we're just going to say they have an elevation advantage. So they're going to bump. He's going to bump up 2, so it's going to go from a white to a yellow. So we're going to have that for the attack. And 2 hits. That's not good. So he has 3 armor, so we got to keep track of it on the card. There's no little well form or anything like that, so we're just going to keep track of it right here next to it. No problem. So he's got 1 armor left, and then he's got 1 health. So basically 2 more hits are going to take him out. And potentially the other Hell Trooper, even though he's far away, he's definitely going to probably be within long range. So he might get a hit. We'll see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's 9 away. I think that's going to be long range. No, that's medium range. So it's medium range. No bonuses or anything. No cover. So it'll be a straight up yellow die. There's one out there. Get that out of there. And he got a hit. So our drone has now no longer has any armor. I'm just going to remove all those. He's got 1 health. And if he gets hit again, he's out. So actually that was a pretty productive turn for them. Oops, and again I forgot to remove the focus. So they are pretty weak. Maybe a while before they get to go again, other than maybe shoot. But it's pretty productive. They pretty much took the drone out, and Hollywood's down to no armor and shield. He won't get the armor back regardless, so that's one defensive point gone for the game. So now we're going to go back to Mayhem, but first we have to do the refresh phrase. So again, we're going to skip the action cube because nobody, Babylon and Alpha Squad did not go, and so they have no action cubes spent of any kind. Same with their shields. They will get, the Alpha Squad will get a cube for their well, and both units need green. Blitz troopers need a green and 2 yellow. Swarm troopers need 2 green. So we're going to go ahead and just put a green cube in there, in that refreshment well. And then the Alpha Squad and Dr. Babylon are going to get status markers. So they're each going to get one of those. So next turn, I'm going to be activating one of them. They're going to get a cube right away, which would mean we're going to be able to activate the Swarm Trooper's ability if they're in a position to use it. Okay, so we are going to activate we're going to go ahead and activate Hollywood this turn. He's been getting hit. Actually, though, maybe I should wait because, well, first we have to do is draw a refresh card. We do that first. Kind of gives us an idea what we're going to get. And actually, it's a pretty good one because that way Hollywood would get a shield back if he doesn't activate. Again, an action cube well. And this means you get rid of one basically debuff and 1 buff token if you have one on any one of your characters that didn't activate. And you have to, even if it's a good thing, you have to get rid of it. And then that has to do with specials, which we don't have any specials that we would have to refresh. So that's kind of neat that you draw that card. Like it could have been where during the refresh, right when you hit the refresh phase, you draw the card and you do it. This gives you an idea of what you're going to be able to refresh. And it might be better for me not to activate Hollywood because I know he's going to get a shield back. And I don't know what the next refresh card for next turn is going to be. And then he may not get a shield. So I think I might leave him and activate hardtack, because hardtack has the ability to teleharpoon. So I could potentially pull one of the hell troopers off the top of that building. So if you look right here, the teleharpoon, I basically roll one die based on whatever range they're at, and I can move the target to a space in front of any agent. And so I can pull him down, and I could even pull it down maybe into Fortune down there, and then she could attack, something like that, on the next turn. Because I know that the hell troopers aren't going to probably go, so I think I might do that. So if I go from here, if I don't even move him, and he does have to move, I can move him afterwards if I want. But at least that way the elevation, well, they're still going to be down, so it's going to affect him. But if I go from here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's 5 away with the teleharpoon. And the teleharpoon, that's going to be short range. So it's going to be a red die. And we have to spend our tech cube. So it's short range for the teleharpoon. But because they're elevated, it's going to bump down to. So I'm going to basically be rolling, or not basically, I am going to be rolling a 6-sided die. So that kind of stinks, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky. So all I got to do is get either one of the hit symbols, and it activates, it stuns the character, as well as I get to move him. So I got a hit. So actually, I think I'm just going to move him right in front of hardtack, because he can do a shotgun attack right up there in the building. So he's going to teleharpoon him, and he is now right next to hardtack. And hardtack is going to do his attack, which is 2 speed. And that's going to be close range. It's 1 away. And again, if I get any of those symbols, he does move 3. I'm wondering if I move. Yeah, I really can't get into a better position because of the barrier. But I was going to say potentially knock him off. The problem is if I hit him, I'm just going to be pushing him that way. I can't push him off the building. And with Hollywood there, yeah, there's really no place I could really put him to do that because of the barrier. So we will attack with the shotgun. And that's going to be 3 dice at red. So he's going to have 3 red dice. There's no bonuses or anything like that. So let's see what we get. So we got 1 hit and 1 pushback. Unfortunately, they have armor, so the armor is going to absorb. You got to get 2 hits to be able to take these guys out. Didn't get the little special symbol, so he didn't get an additional knockback. Yeah, not much more we can do. So he's going to get pushed back to here, and I think. Well, I'm just going to go ahead. He's 3 move. Just going to move him right up there. Because he can attack again if we wanted him to. He's got plenty of speed to do that. So that's going to be hardtack's turn. So now we're going to do the Mayhem refresh. So we can refresh Fortune. So we're going to give her 1 in the action. I'm going to give her a speed. And Hollywood doesn't have any action cube spent. Then we go to shield, so he will get his shield back. So at least he has 1 shield now, which is good. Again, nobody has a buff or debuff. Actually, yeah, she didn't attack, so nobody has anything yet. And again, no special. So that's going to be it. So we're going to go to the Legion turn. Okay, we're going to stop here real quick. We'll continue it. I'm just going to stop here with this video, and then we'll start the Legion turn in the next video. So we'll see you here soon.